Welcome to Ending the Stupid Gender War. This show is only for intelligent, mature, non-doom scrolling people only. Trust me, if you're a doom scroller, you will not even make it. Not even halfway. So subscribe and share this video with everyone you know, and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Alright, so today's topic, we have covered it before, however, it's from a different angle this time. The topic of high value man or a high value woman. We're going to go ahead and just nail this one rather quickly, I would say. Alright, so starting with the women, what do they have to say as far as for the high value debate? You call yourself a high value man because you have a job and a gym membership. You know, the whole high value thing, I'm going to be giving my opinions on it, but yeah, this is a bit of an exaggeration on purpose. I get it. That's not high value, that's basic adulthood. True, that's very true. High value means emotional intelligence, loyalty, the ability to sit in discomfort with your partner without fixing it. Let me see what she said there. The ability to sit in discomfort with your partner without fixing it. No, it depends what you mean by discomfort there. I mean, if it's a problem that needs fixing, yeah, kind of a little bit shady with that one, but I do agree with, emotional intelligence, loyalty, because, for instance, people these days who don't want to talk about relationships, or love, they're very low value. They have no value, in my opinion. A high value woman and man just loves to talk about relationships and love in general. Anything that has to do with love, the topic of love. Anything, it's a huge umbrella. It includes music that talks about love, poems, or just talking about it in general. Not necessarily celebrity gossip. I mean, that's kind of a sub area there. It's not really primary, but yeah, there's different levels of it. All right, so you bring money and muscles and think you're a prize. Well, that is a prize for a lot of women out there. Nothing wrong with money and muscles, but the passion has to be there, because money and muscles can't replace passion. What can I say? While women bring you youth, beauty, and the entire mental load of the relationship. No, what are you talking about mental load? That's shared equally, 50-50. That's a little bit of a feminist extremist attitude there. No, I can't agree with you on that. The mental load of the relationship? So what does the guy do? Not share the mental load? I mean, you're making him sound useless here. I don't really like that. And also, the guy can bring youth and beauty of his own. What is that? You guys are both the prize. How about that? The math isn't mathing. High value isn't a salary and a six-pack. Well, to many women it is. Sorry to say. Six-pack abs, six-figure income, 6 feet tall, 6'6". Call it evil or call it typical. I call it typical. A real woman is supposed to look for more than just a few things. Like, for instance, if his salary isn't that big, if he doesn't have a visible six-pack and he's not quite 6 feet tall, but she wants a passionate, loving man, that's a real woman, in my humble opinion. That's a woman with her head screwed on straight. Looking at what really counts. Because the salary can fluctuate, physical fitness can fluctuate, and the height, well, that generally tends to go down over time. So yeah, pretty much immature women look for the 666. It's character, and most of you don't clear that bar. Well, yeah, there's a lot of dumbass guys out there, so I'll give you that, but a little too harsh with this definition here from the women. You can be harsh with the ones who deserve it, but that doesn't apply to all men. Just keep that in mind, okay? Special caveat. All right, so the women against the high-value debate. You call yourself a high-value woman because you have boundaries and a skincare routine. That's not high value. That's existing with standards. Okay, but those standards give you value. You do realize that, right? Because you're valuable. Meaning that your skin looks more beautiful. You take care of yourself in the gym. But boundaries doesn't have anything to do with high value. I disagree with that. Skincare routine, yeah, your hair care, your skin care, fashion, sense. That does add value to you because it shows that you care, hence the word care, for yourself. All right, so that's existing with standards. High value means partnership, reciprocity. Yes, I do agree. The ability to pour into someone else instead of just demanding they pour into you. Yeah, well, that's how love works. Two halves of the same heart, give and take. If one partner is giving more than receiving or receiving more than giving, there's an imbalance, right? You bring expectations and entitlement and think you're a prize. Well, both of you guys are supposed to be the prize, okay? I already said that. While men bring provision, protection, and purpose, women can bring that too. Provision, protection, and purpose. A lot of women are completely oblivious to that fact, in fact. Because a man like myself, I feel protected by a strong, mature, passionate, intelligent woman. I feel a sense of protection because she has my back. Provision, that's where the wisdom comes into the picture. And purpose. Without her, I don't have a purpose. So I really disagree that it's gender specific there. It's actually both. It's unisex. The scale is tipped. High value isn't a list of demands. It's contribution. And most of you don't clear that bar. Well, that's like the first person said, clear that bar. I get it. But it depends who we're talking about. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears over to the men because nothing new under the sun when it comes to what the women said there. I do agree with a lot of it, but kind of disagree with some of it for sure. So the men say for the high value debate, men have to be providers. That's not optional. Actually, it could be optional, buddy. Not all men have a great paying job to be able to provide. And that's exactly why a lot of men avoid potential long-term, lifelong relationships. Nothing wrong with that. If you guys have dual income, then you guys are both the providers. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with that. So it is optional. That's the deal. If you can't lead, can't protect, can't make a woman feel secure enough to relax into her femininity, you're not high value. I disagree. I completely disagree. A high value man is a passionate, loving man, strong in the inside, and it shows on the outside. You don't have to have six-pack abs, be 6 feet tall, and have a six-figure income to what this guy's talking about here, be the provider. No, that boat has long sailed away in the black and white days. Most likely the case scenario is either dual working or just barely making it. But that does not mean that you're not high value. Hell to the no. High value means a heart of gold. Okay? Not a bank of gold. You guys are so stupid out there who believe this crap. That high value is all about the money. It's not. Any guy who believes that is just straight up stupid beyond belief. Don't even waste your time with these pieces of garbage. There's so many guys these days who think that high value is all about how many figures you have in that bank account. Just complete dumbasses. What do you want me to say? Nothing much to say. I think I already said enough about them. So, okay. And, relax her into femininity. Well, she should already feel feminine. What are you talking about? Right? Because if she's not into sex, as much as you should be, by the way, there's no high value to her either. If she's not like a total freak in the bedroom, getting into that dirty sex, no, there's not much value there. I'm sorry to tell you, ladies. I don't like, well, it's immaturity, isn't it? And the same goes for the guys. No, I'm not into oral. I don't do doggy. Well, then you're not high value. You better do it in every which hole possible. Come on. This is just retarded. It really is. When guys and gals pretend that they're not into sex and that's supposed to be high value, that's extremely low value. No real man or woman wants to be with a guy or a woman who is just pretty much a dead fish in the bedroom. No. That's mighty low value if you ask me. Sexual technique is a must. It's the heart of the relationship. You're not high value, you're just another guy taking up space. That's completely untrue. Like I said, you don't have to have a big bank account, buddy. You're stupid. Women have to stop pretending that equal partnership means no roles. It doesn't. Well, you guys not have natural roles, but it doesn't have to be definitive. You guys have to agree on what roles those should be. Not every couple is the same. High value men lead. No, women need to lead too. It's 50-50. High value women follow that lead. No, no, the men can follow the women. It depends who's taking the lead. When you're dancing, for the idiots out there, when you're dancing, you're not always supposed to take the lead. The beauty of a beautiful dance is when the woman and the man takes the lead. It's this beautiful exchange, like a well-oiled machine. You know? It's just so beautiful when you see the woman take the lead because it shows strength and character, determination, raw passion. Any real man desires that with all of his heart and soul. And the same applies for the women who want the man to take the lead. Yes, will gladly take the lead. But I want a strong, mature, intelligent woman by my side, not a dead fish. All right, so that's not outdated. That's nature. No, real nature is both taking the lead, so shut up with that already. And pretending otherwise is why everyone's miserable. No, that's exactly why you're miserable, thinking that everything's about the bank account and that men have to take the lead 100% all the time, 24/7, 365 a year. That's a miserable life. It's very, very macho-like, very toxic with that masculinity there. And that's exactly why in the black and white days, the older days, they had a lot of failed relationships too. Not everything was, roses. No, because there was a lot of toxic masculinity with the guy who thinks he can control and manipulate everything in the household because, well, I'm in charge because I have the money and I take the lead. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. All right, so what other garbage do the guys have to say here? Because I hope that he really changes his tune. I really do. Against the high value debate. Women have to stop using high value as a cudgel to demand things you're not bringing yourself. Oh, great. Here we go. With the money again, I suppose. You want a six-figure... There we go. All right, so another dumbass. What did I expect? What did I even say? I already predicted this. You want a six-figure man... And you know how stupid that sounds? I'm a six-figure man. So you're defined by your bank account? You sound like a pretty empty man. Not even a man. An empty male. Like an empty shell destined to be a loser forever. Like, that's all you're going to be destined for is to be a loser forever, I swear. That's all you care about. Freaking money, man. You're going to learn the hard way. What do you want me to say? You're going to learn the absolute boneheaded hard way. Bunch of empty skulls out there. All they care about is money, I swear. You want a six-figure man while you work part-time? What's wrong with her working part-time? What's wrong with that? The hell are you talking about? And post memes. Seriously? We're talking about memes? I mean, how immature can you get? I swear. You want to protect her while you give attitude to every guy who approaches. You want a leader while you refuse to follow anyone anywhere. What a crybaby. What a retard. High value isn't a one-way street. It's mutual elevation. If you're not bringing peace, partnership, and genuine effort, you're not high value. You're just high maintenance with the vocabulary word. Okay, look. There's nothing wrong with high maintenance. A woman who cares about herself and it gets pretty expensive. Now, she can't be a dumbass and assume that the guy's supposed to afford all of that. Or if you're in a dual working relationship, no matter who's part-time or full-time. What I mean by dumbass is saying, no, you will pay for my high maintenance because I'm a high maintenance woman. Like, Madonna, I'm a material girl in a material world. I don't give a damn. If we can't afford it, let me repeat that. If we can't afford it, we need to make cuts. Okay? We need to cut some of that out because high maintenance is beautiful when we can afford it. That's the end of that story. No guy should feel obligated to maintain a high maintenance woman. It's beautiful that she's high maintenance, but only when you guys can afford it. What the hell? Only choose the most important stuff like skincare, maybe hair care. You know, in the aging process, we get gray hairs and whatnot. I get it. I understand. But everything else, like the latest car and, the latest, fashion, all the clothes and the bags and whatever, those are fun. But if you guys can't afford it, well, guess what? Right? I mean, so many guys out there really stress themselves over this. They really just bust their own head over, I should be able to afford it all. Yeah, you ideally, if you want the full roller coaster and enjoy that ride, but most men can't. It is what it is. I mean, there's always saving for better days, but a high maintenance woman is good, but she has to be understanding. So that's part of the maturity process. Understand that maybe we can't afford that right now. Maybe we should save up and then, spoil yourself later during the year with those savings to maintain yourself. You're still maintaining yourself, but you're doing it responsibly financially. Nothing wrong with that. I guess people, they just don't like to think of what their real options are. They get really lazy, and so they stop thinking. And yeah, it happens all the time. People get panicked. They go into panic mode in a panic situation, and they start making hasty, irresponsible, immature decisions. Start assuming the worst about each other. But yeah, so men can bring peace and partnership and genuine effort. Not just a woman. Yeah, this guy sounds like another toxic person here, really. I mean, he has very few valid points here, but that's just common sense. So yeah, this is not really a battle. This is just some stupid things that both the men and women said here, but some core values that should be pushed forward, yes. It looks like the women mentioned more good things than bad things compared to the guys over here. But it doesn't matter. It is what it is. Both of them have massive errors in their ways of how they express themselves. But yeah, that does conclude today's show. That's all for now. Get access to my free 1-hour movie by becoming a free member on my website. Yes, it really is that easy. Where you can also potentially become a guest speaker on my show, Let's Talk About Love, where you get to talk about whatever relationship related topic you want. Yeah, imagine that. How generous. So, with that said, much love, everybody.